Today I'm going to look at how I went from this to this, shooting with an iPhone 12 Pro Max.
Learn how to turn your smartphone into a professional quality video camera. Be sure to check out our mobile filmmaking courses. And also, don't forget, we have a companion filmmaking podcast. Links are in the description.
Hey guys, Blake Calhoun, and I'm in Adobe Premiere Pro, and this is all my LogV3 footage. And this is just some B-roll I shot of my family swimming in the pool. And so there's no story here. This is just kind of random shots I cut together. And I'm going to go through these here momentarily on how I did my color grading and my color correction. And so I shot all this 4K 24p and importantly LogV3, but also I shot with a B-Script DOF adapter and I used a Midicon 85mm lens. Now I'm showing this example because in my mind it looks very cinematic. It doesn't look like normal iPhone footage. And I've showed examples of this in the past where people complain, and I am in agreement with them, that the DOF adapter has vignetting on wider shots. Well, this was all shot with a tighter lens. And for the most part, when you shoot with longer lenses, you don't get the vignetting. And so by shooting with this setup, you not only get shallow depth of field, but you get a nice softness and texture to the image that has a very filmic feel. But of course you can shoot FiLMiC Pro LogV3 with any kind of setup. It doesn't have to be this, but in this situation, I think it looks particularly good. And that of course includes doing the color grading. And so today I'm going to show how to do that with this really great plugin from FilmConvert called CineMatch. The nice thing about CineMatch is its simplicity. All you do is apply the effect and you go through these steps and they're laid out very simply. And so since this was iPhone, I select the camera it was shot on. Go to Apple, and then this defaults to FiLMiC Pro LogV3 for the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And then you choose whether you want full or limited, and I've been choosing full. And then from there you go to Target Camera Settings. And this is where the magic happens. And I've been doing Alexa Log C, and I've been choosing limited. And so now what that's done, let me toggle that on and off. That was the original iPhone. And now that's ARRI Log C. So basically what that's doing is it's transforming the iPhone log to ARRI log. And then in the next step, camera adjustments, you hit this Apply Rec 709 Transform, and boom, you have got some great looking footage. And in many respects, if you hit your white balance and your exposure properly while you're shooting, you don't have to do a whole lot. But if you do need to adjust it, and most of the time you probably will, CineMatch makes it really easy. So under exposure, you click on middle gray and or skin tones. And by clicking this, you go into a false color mode. And then you can adjust it as needed. Green areas are middle gray. And skin tone is just that, the orange. You can get that to be skin tone, which usually is about 70% if you're looking at zebras. So you can adjust that to your liking. Same thing with the temperature guide. Temperature guide though, the orange is warmer and the blue is cooler. And so you can slide the slider to make simple adjustments. And then with the tint as well. Same false color. You can adjust the greens or the magenta. And one nice thing this has too, it does have an eyedropper for white balance. And so you come over here, click the eyedropper, you can find something white, click it. It'll automatically adjust the temp and the tint. Now, if you shoot a color chart, you could use that here too. That's one thing nice about shooting a chart. But if you're doing run and gun B-roll like I'm doing here, that's not always an option. And really, that's it. You can go in here if needed and adjust the curves. It has a variety of other refinements you can adjust. Then you could also go in and do secondary corrections using color wheels and or curves. And it has standard corrections where you're just adjusting the basics like saturation or shadows and that kind of thing. Now, CineMatch is really designed to, say, match footage like an iPhone with an Alexa. Say you're using it as a B camera. And so typically speaking, you might go into a comparison mode and you would be comparing one shot to the next and actually matching one camera to the other. But in this case, what I'm doing is simply applying the effect to footage that I shot that I just want to mimic the look of an Alexa. And that's the cool part. It ends up being a very simple way to not only do a quick color correction adjustment, but match two different kinds of cameras. And now while I like ARRI LogC, you could obviously go in here and pick whatever camera you want. And there are subtle differences, of course. There's Blackmagic, there's Canon, there's DJI. They've got Red, Zcam, pretty much any camera you can think of, they've got one that you can match to it. And so I just switched it to Blackmagic, and you can see it just went a little more desaturated. At least that's what it looks like at a quick glance. But the gold standard in filmmaking is Alexa. And so I have found that I like the way Alexa looks the best. And so you might be thinking, do you need to use LUTs? Well, yes and no. You don't need to use LUTs if you're using CineMatch for correction, because that's what this is doing. However, if you wanted to add a film look on top of this, for instance, using FilmConvert or using LUTs like the LUTs I make or LUTs from other creators or LUTs from other companies, you can definitely do that on top of this, and or you could just transform the log footage using a LUT as well. I'm personally working on additional LUTs that will work well with LogV3. I have a lot of LUTs for LogV2 and LogV1, and I have a few starter LUTs for LogV3, but I am working on some more advanced ones. But again, if you wanted to use CineMatch, what you would then do is apply that on top. And just as a quick example, and this isn't technically a LUT, but it kind of works like a LUT, I'm adding FilmConvert on top of that. So I did the general correction, and now I'm going to add, like this is Kodak. And so I've taken the iPhone log footage, transformed that to ARRI LogC, then corrected that to Rec 709 in ARRI LogC. Sounds complicated, but it's really not. And then on top of that, I just added a Kodak look as a LUT. And so you have multiple layers going here. And then this also will add grain if you want to, which is nice. Ultimately, there are a lot of different ways to work with log footage. This might be my new favorite way, using CineMatch, because really it's so simple and the results speak for themselves. This stuff looks really good. So what I'll do now is play this short sequence, the before and after look, and then the final graded look. you are interested in CineMatch or FilmConvert or my LUTs, links are in the description. Well, thanks for watching, guys. This is Blake Calhoun. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.